pilots will go into a briefing in just about 5 minutes and get an update on the weather, and then they'll get a report back to me, and we'll find out what this morning's activities are. Meantime, as you can see, the tether ride balloon, one of the two is already up and operating. Our tether rides by Brian Rohr are $30 for adults, $20 for 12 and under, and 12 and unders must be accompanied by an adult, and it is a cash-only business. No credit cards, no checks, no pets, don't give away your firstborn child, anything like that, just for a balloon ride. We do have an ATM machine, one right at the main entrance, which is just behind the Fox 4 main stage here, if you need cash. And so, yeah, tether rides are up and operating, and you can get an idea of what it's like to fly in a hot air balloon while we wait to see what this morning's flight activity will be. So, as my old director in television used to say, stand by to stand by, and we'll have information for you very shortly.
Thầy Vé Channel. Sáng Thầy Vé Channel nha. Sáng ngủ dậy 5 giờ đã dậy, lo chuẩn bị rồi đi quay phim. Sáng nay là buổi sáng cuối trong 3 bữa trong 3 hôm. Sáng nay là mở cửa từ 6 giờ tới 11 giờ, đóng cửa ngày Chủ nhật, tranh thủ bữa cuối đi, ngày mai là không còn nữa. Sao Vé Channel là hỏi câu đó ta? Ai cũ hay mới vậy? Bữa nay bữa cuối rồi không, mình đợi tới sang năm mới có lại. Buổi sáng người ta cũng ở đây cũng như là cái không khí người ta cũng là chuẩn bị một buổi sáng nha. Họ đi rất là đông chứ không phải là sáng sớm mà họ lười biếng, họ không đi đâu nha các bạn, đi rất là đông luôn á. Rồi mình đi thiệt sớm rồi, mình đã lên đây mình thấy mọi người cũng là đi càng sớm hơn mình nữa các bạn. Rồi họ này các bạn thấy đông không? Đông lắm. Như vậy. Rất là đông luôn nữa. Giống như cái lễ hội phong tục ở đây năm nào mình cũng thấy ở Ngang Nồ có cái đâu. Vậy thì 5 giờ sáng, cách đây 2 tiếng đồng hồ. Vậy sao? Đợi gặp bà hàng ở Mỹ rồi mới về. vòng như vậy.
Once again, good morning and welcome everybody to the HEB Central Market Plano Balloon Festival. This is our 46th year. It's kind of hard to imagine that the event actually got going back in 1980 for the first time. And that year the balloons just launched and flew from various sites around the city. Some of you may remember the old polo grounds that were over, I think, on either Park or Parker Road. I know there was a flight out of there. In 1981, they moved to what then was Oak Grove Park, which today is Bob Woodruff Park. And that was the home for the event for a number of years until it grew and got so large that they had to move it out of that neighborhood, and we moved north up here to this location. I was fortunate enough to be living and working here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area moved up here in 1981, working for WFAA and then eventually KDFW, both of those stations, and got involved with the festival in 1982, its third year.
Yêu đời rồi, sáng đi quay phim chụp hình quá trời.
And at that point, there really was nothing more to the balloon festival than, a handful of balloons went out to Oak Grove Park in the morning. We launched and flew away, and then they came back in the afternoon and launched and flew away, and that was it. There were no all-day activities, nothing like what we see now, vendors and entertainment stages and bands and that sort of stuff. There was just balloons flying in the morning and the evening, and that's kind of how it got started. Along the way, I think it was 1984. That year, I was actually the vice chairman of the Balloon Festival, along with a local balloonist, Charmian Gaines Show. And we teamed up with a lady who has ever since become a great lifelong friend of mine, Diane Carlson, who was head of the League of Women Voters in Plano at that time. And they had an arts and crafts fair in Oak Grove Park, and we had a balloon festival in Oak Grove Park, and we got together and said, why don't we just combine the two? And we did, and that was really the beginning of the extreme growth that this event has seen. After a few years of that, as the event continued to grow, we realized there was a need for a professional staff to run the event, not just a bunch of volunteer balloonists. And our current executive director, Jo Pye, was hired to come in and organize and run the event, and she has done so ever since. And look at where we are now, tens of thousands of people out. Last night, the crowd was absolutely huge. The entire, for those of you that are up on the hillside, kind of all by yourself up there, last night you couldn't stir people with a stick. They were so thick up there. Huge crowd out last night, and tremendous growth the festival has had. A lot of that goes to the credit of HEB and the Central Market for their long-running investment as title sponsors of this event. We can't thank them enough for that. So it's been a tremendous 46 years of growth. This is the community where I got started in ballooning, and it's nice to be back. I was, I guess you could say, the original voice of the Plano Balloon Festival, starting here back in 1985, and a few years ago I had to step away because I was doing some events over in the United Kingdom and the event in Albuquerque, and this is sandwiched right between, and just the traveling overseas and back just got to be too much to try to squeeze in this event. But glad to be back finally, kind of in my ballooning hometown, as it were. And it's been an absolutely gorgeous weekend, all weekend. Looks like we have another brilliant day today. So the weather gods have smiled on us. Our tether balloon, once again, is operating this morning, and there is already a queue of folks down there. Once again, the tether rides are $30 for adults, $20 for 12 and under, but 12 and unders must be accompanied by an adult, and it is cash only. And the line forms just along the fence line to the Central Market Kids Fun Zone. There will be a sign down there where you can step out in line, buy a ticket to get on board the aircraft, and then they'll call you out when it's your turn to get on board the balloon. The tether ride is really an entire balloon flight in a capsule, because you board the basket, you get to lift off as the balloon goes up into the air to the end of the tether ropes, usually about 75, 80 feet up high at some point, 50, 75 feet, something like that. And you'll hang there for a short time to get the sense of what it's like to be floating along and flying in a balloon, and then you come back down and land very gently. So you get the entire takeoff, flight, landing experience all in a very capsule moment on a tether ride. And if you've never been in a balloon, I would encourage you to go ahead and take the chance and do that. It's quite an exciting experience. Also inflating in that area of the field, the northeast corner, is our walk-through balloon. That is the balloon laying on its side at the moment. You can see it's blue, white, and red with a big orange patch in the center. And a walk-through balloon is simply that. Once they have it cold, inflated, and set up, you can literally just walk inside, go in and walk around inside the envelope, see what the inside of a balloon looks like. Great place to take some selfies to post on social media, that kind of fun thing. Great thing for the kids to do. Not everyone can say they've walked around inside a hot air balloon, so you can go do that today. And that is absolutely free. There's no charge for that whatsoever. Just, again, make your way down to the fence line, get in line, and when it's your turn, they'll call you in and give you a few minutes to spend inside walking around the balloon. So that's a rather unique experience that you don't get to do every day. The Kids Fun Zone, our Central Market Kids Fun Zone, should be getting opened up probably very soon, between now and 8 o'clock certainly, for all the kids, with the inflatables and other activities down there. This year, and I guess perhaps it's changed while I was away, but when I was last here, we would have this morning's activity, and then we would bring as many balloons that could stay back in the afternoon and fly on Sunday evening. We don't do that anymore. This morning is the final event of the festival. After this morning's flight, we'll be closing the gates, I think, about 10 a.m. And the reason for that is quite simple. We have to clear the park and have everything picked up, cleaned up, and moved out by tomorrow morning. And when we used to operate until, 7, 8 o'clock on Sunday evening, that made it very difficult on the vendors and the event staff to then work late into the night to get the park cleaned up and returned back to normal. And so we no longer do a Sunday evening activity. Now, this morning will be our final ballooning activity. And then after the flight's conclusion, then the gates will be closing this morning, and we'll call this one a wrap. And of course, then start working toward next year. If you're enjoying being here at this balloon festival and wondering where others might be that you could go to, there are a number of events around the state of Texas. I was just talking with a friend of mine from San Antonio, or from Longview, that'll be in San Antonio next weekend. We have an event down there. It's the Remax Skylight Balloon Festival. It actually takes place in the community of Schertz and Cibolo, which are two suburb communities, suburban to San Antonio, kind of between San Antonio and Austin, San Marcos, that area, just along I-35. Earlier this summer, there, of course, was the Great Texas Balloon Race over at Longview that happens in June. We have a balloon event in my hometown area over in Shreveport, Louisiana. The Red River Balloon Rally takes place in early July. And there are a number of other events around the state and in this region, Oklahoma, New Mexico. In New Mexico, of course, coming up in a couple of weeks will be the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. That's what they call the big one. And if you think seeing, 35, 40 balloons that we have flying here is fun, imagine being surrounded by 500 hot air balloons in the air at the same time. If you ever have the opportunity, I can encourage you to make a road trip to Albuquerque for the International Balloon Fiesta there. It's quite something. And it always is the first full week of October. It always starts on the Saturday after October the 1st, which this year is, I think, October the 4th, and then it runs for 9 days. We were lamenting this morning in our pre-briefing with staff, how in the world do they do this for 9 days? Because we're all just about worn out after just 3 days. So, but the Albuquerque event is one that we should certainly try to make at some point in time. It's a great bucket list trip to do. Lots of other things out there in the New Mexico area to see as well. But I would certainly encourage you to take that in. If you're interested in the sport of ballooning, one of the best resources is the website for the Balloon Federation of America. The BFA is the official club, association, federation, use whatever term you'd like, for balloonists and ballooning enthusiasts in the United States. And our website is very simply www.bfa, as in Balloon Federation of America, BFA.net. And there you can find a schedule of ballooning events all across the country if you're traveling, maybe on vacation. And you might not realize there could be a balloon event happening, where you're taking off to. So lots of information there that you can find. I would encourage you to consider joining the BFA. If you're a balloon enthusiast, you don't have to be a pilot, don't have to be a crew, just have to like balloons to be a member. One of the benefits is 6 times a year you get what I consider to be quite well done 48-page full-color magazine called Ballooning Journal, and I've had the honor of being the editor of that publication for the past 25 years, so naturally I would speak highly of it. But it's a very nice publication, all about ballooning, not just in the United States, but we cover events all around the world, and so that's just one of many benefits to joining the BFA if you're a fan of ballooning. So check out www.bfa.net. I want to give a shout out to all of the nonprofits who are participating in this event. You may not realize this, but the Plano Balloon Festival is and sometimes the single sole fundraising event for a number of nonprofit charity organizations that operate here in the Plano and DFW communities, and they count on this balloon event to make enough money, for them to make enough money at this event to run their operations year-round. They also provide volunteers to the event. This year supplying more than 2,500 volunteers are involved in running the organization. All of these nonprofit organizations, including the Plano Balloon Festival, are indeed nonprofit, and again count on this event to be their primary fundraiser for their operations throughout the year. So as you're traveling or you're walking around checking out the various vendors that are here, not only the folks with food and drink, you might be supporting your nonprofit organization as you're making your purchase, whether you're shopping for merchandise or, as I said, for food and drink. And we want to give a shout out to all of those nonprofits who participate in the event, help us with volunteer manpower, and also benefit from your being here at the Plano Balloon Festival. Just going to take a moment here and check with our operations team and get an update on this morning's plans. So bear with me and I'll be right back with you. Okay. Just checking with my radio with our balloon operations team, and if you were here just a while ago, I was explaining the surface winds are perfectly fine this morning. We do have some concern with the winds at altitude and with the lack of steering ability. In other words, the wind is basically blowing in just one direction. There's no ability to go left or right once you get airborne. There's no other steering winds along, and the winds at 1,000 feet above the ground are already running about 20 miles per hour. Now, if you know anything about ballooning, and if you don't, about to, we generally like to fly winds of 10 miles per hour or less. These are very tricky aircraft, and sometimes we do
We're gonna go see the car with Rowan.
Bên kia cũng đâu, bên kia đốt nữa, xếp hàng vô các bạn. Đi bộ.
You're welcome. Es que yo creo que corre con el plástico y con playa. Imagínate. Enggak, painnya lelek. Ya nấu cái nấu. Right here. Ay, justo prendí.
Parece que abrieron las piernas.
Người nào nó lại khác hơn. Cái đầu anh ta. Cái này bơm nhanh này, cái kia bơm lâu quá. Mới là cò lên rồi đó. Hai đảo dâm nữa. Giờ đi đông thôi.
Driving across Scotland and came across a quite nice little cottage on the shore of one of the locks, and there was a for sale sign out front with a Remax sign up. I took a picture of it, texted it back to Steve and said, "Man, I can't get away from you guys no matter where I travel." Remax is everywhere, and they are above the crowd. Steve returned the favor, by the way. I took a boat tour out onto Loch Ness, and it wasn't long after that I posted a selfie of me up on the bow of the boat and the Loch Ness in the background, of course, and Steve did a little Photoshop work and added a Nessie to my photo and sent it back to me. So Steve and Alana have been great friends for a long time. used to run a bit down in Houston, Texas at the Johnson Space Center called Balloon Liftoff. That doesn't happen anymore. It was a very big event running today. So, thrilled to have Remax with us, and Christian has been doing here as a 30-year sponsor last night, and Friday night, of course, if you're out with us, we got to see the Remax skydiving team led by Al Taylor, who jumped in and carried the American and Texas flags to officially kick off our evening activities on Friday and Saturday evenings, and always fun to work with Al and his team as well. Several more of the pilots now beginning to put some cold air into the balloons and get them inflated. Let me give you a little ballooning education as we watch all of this happen this morning. For those of you that might be new to the sport, or even if you've seen it many times and may not understand the operation, our hot air balloons are built out of three principal systems. There is the envelope. Now that's the big fabric bag that holds all the air, but it officially is called the envelope. And then there is the basket, or carriage, as some people term it. I don't like that term, but some people say that. Or gondola. A gondola is what's underneath a blimp, a helium or a hydrogen-filled blimp. It's not a balloon basket. We fly in baskets. And those baskets, by the way, are literally that. They're woven, they are hand-woven out of wicker and rattan. There's a little bit of decorative leather and some foam rubber padding. But basically, it's just like basket weaving. When I was a kid, my mom took me to a summer thing at the YMCA, and one of the classes we had was basket weaving, and we learned to weave little baskets for flowers and things. Well, a balloon basket is just a bigger version of that. They're made out of, like I said, wicker and rattan, and a little bit of nice leather for color and accoutrement. And then some foam rubber padding, and that's about all there is to it. And then the third system, of course,
phải gia đình nữa mà nhỏ lớn mày kéo
and that's our burners and the propane fuel tanks. So the way that you create, and when you put all three of those together, you have a balloon. Individually, they're not a balloon, but you put them all three together, and they are. So what happens, as you can see, the pilots get the equipment out of their trailers or off the back of their trucks or tommy lifts. The envelope is then spread out around the ground. It attaches to the basket by a series of cables. The burners are mounted on a frame that sits atop the basket. Once the three are connected, then the pilots will crank up a little gasoline powered frame. We do not blow them up. And if you figure that out, I don't know how you picture it. And so, the fan is all in the fan. Now, back in the old days, this is only going back to the 1970s, we used to have to do what we call inflation. And what would happen is the pilots, you see at the HEB balloon where the young woman there, the two of them, they're just now opening up the throat of the balloon, right there down by the basket. Well, without an inflator fan, you would have to stand there and literally flap that fabric up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, trying to get a bubble of air inside the envelope, and then the pilot would light the burner. And there was a role for the crew, a person who would go inside the balloon with a tall broomstick and hold the fabric up, standing in front of that giant flame. Inflator fans are very much a very welcome and needed invention when we came up with those. So they use the inflator fan to blow air into the envelope of the balloon to fill the balloon up with ambient air. Ambient is just a fancy term for the air that surrounds all of us right here on the ground. We're all sitting and standing and breathing. So we fill it up with ambient, or what we term cold air, into the envelope. Once the envelope is completely filled with cold air, packed out, then the pilot climbs into the basket, lights up the burners, and using that propane burner, heats the air inside, the air that's now trapped inside the big fabric bag inside the envelope. And as we all learned in our fifth grade, hot air does what? Hot air rises. Cold air stays close to the ground. And so as the pilot uses that burner and heats the air that's trapped inside the envelope, to get really scientific on you here, the molecules of the air expand and they get very active. It's like if you've ever watched a pot of boiling water, it goes from still standing water to bubbling and gurgling and all sorts of things happening. That's kind of what's happening to the air inside the envelope. Getting all moist up, very active, the molecules are expanding, growing, pushing out around. And as they do,
Yeah.
And generally, if we warm up, we can go also, we can come down. We can send back toward the and or extracting when you're up here, the wind does move in different directions and different altitudes, and that's why you see a bunch of birds flying. Some will be going up, some will be going down, some staying where they are. All of that movement of the aircraft, birds going up and down, they're all trying to find a wind to carry them in the direction that they want to go. So the green and white Central Market balloon is coming up now. That is Matt Robinson, who is the pilot there. Central Market Kids Fun Zone. Yep, it's open. I see some of the rides going round and round down there. It's a $20 all-you-can-play ticket if you want to play all day this morning. If you really want to wear it, you got a youngster that has too much energy, take them down there and you let them wear themselves out. They cost you $20. Or it's $2 per attraction. You can do it either way. And they'll be open throughout the morning as we run through the balance of the event this year. And the Central Market Kids Fun Zone located in the northeast corner of the parkway out, right down by the tethered bridge. You can't miss it. You can see the inflatable Silver Worlds and all those exciting things going on down there.
Giờ lên đẹp rồi đó.
So let's get back to some of the balloons on the field. HEB is getting it ready. We're here with Central Market doing a very well-sized balloon. Amy picking up is there. Down in the northwest corner of the field. Ziggy is a raccoon. And she's just stood up. And why Ziggy, this year, did come from us, Mike Fielding and Michael Wilson. That the lovebirds are just about to stand up. You look out the field, you can see blue, staff blue, yellow. And that's the two lovebirds. It's two little I guess they were birds.
Nói gì vậy? Quay kinh cái cầu rồi nói gì vậy? Giờ nhiều nữa các bạn. Thế là mỗi năm rồi mà vào tháng 9 các bạn, thành thường ở tại Plano, Texas. ở ở đây cách Hilton là 4 giờ đi xe. That's it.
Icarus, for you. Next to Icarus, the yellow balloon with the orange checkered pattern around the bottom. That is Dawn's Light, and that is William Spicer, who is there. You'll see them on the bird and the balloon for you. So certainly, the audience can hear me out there this morning. Yeah, okay. One of our new churches is along the white line. The crowd on the east side, west side there, that is our Lava balloon with the very original name of No Problema. And Shane Hale is working as pilot on No Problema this weekend. That is literally a brand new balloon. It was just certificated a few days before we opened this year's Plano Balloon Festival. So literally making its very first appearance, not just here in Plano, but anywhere.
Chuẩn bị là đây. Đó, chuẩn bị lên này. Lên.
Fire dog is getting inflated. Our police dog is already standing up. Brian Chase.
No, el puro no sé, pero el perrito de café se come todo.
Behind the city of Plano that we're trying to locate. I know what happens a lot of times when you have is once the balloon stands up, you can't see through it, and so a lot of times the vision is blocked as to where some of the other balloons are. So
Đớp
I'll
bao
try
nhiêu
to
cái
locate
nha
it
các
for
bạn?
you.
Một,
And you may, if you really want a chance to see them. Of course, once we get the basket up, we're going to open the field and
bốn,
let you go out and so you can
năm,
find your
sáu,
the way back to the field is a purple balloon.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Bây giờ mình đếm tổng cộng là 24 cái kinh khí cầu nha các bạn. Ở phía mình á, qua trên màn hình một làn người đi bộ vào á, họ mua vé để họ lên đó, họ đã bay cũng không có cao. Cái kinh khí cầu mà thứ đây nãy giờ bay đó là lên vậy rồi. Bây giờ mình nghĩ cũng này 5 phút thôi để quay phim chụp hình rồi cái là bắt đầu xuống. Họ nhiều người họ mua vé đi vậy lắm. Mình đếm tổng cộng 24 cái kinh khí cầu á. Tí nữa khoảng 1 phút sau mình đếm lại thử có cái nào mới bơm lên không các bạn. Chào Hà Nhung, chào Z Channel. Bệnh Z ơi, bệnh không có nói nữa.
but please, one, do so carefully.
11 giờ là kết thúc nha các bạn.
Two, don't tear down the picture. It's like
11 giờ là kết thúc á. Bây giờ là gần 8 giờ rồi, 3 tiếng đồng hồ nữa là đóng cửa.
please go to the exit. Don't
Quay
tear
lại
down
lần nữa kết thúc video nha.
We also need you to cooperate with us and move off the field when the time comes for us to ask you to do that. So just keep that in mind. And remember, please, absolutely, positively, no smoking of any kind out on the moon launch field. Speaking back on the launch field, down toward the southern end, out toward Parker Road, that royal blue balloon is the Plains National Bank balloon. That is Mr. Barry Ballinger, who is the pilot, and the balloon is called In the Buff because there are two buffalo on either sides of the envelope, or as they called them in the Kevin Costner classic Dances with Wind, the Sioux word for buffalo was Tatonka. But the crew have special T-shirts.
Đây là cái cầu
It
của
wouldn't
một
be as
mang
cool
cái
if
thương
they
hiệu
said,
của một cái
I
chợ
fly
này.
in the Tatonka. So instead, their T-shirts say,
chữ Y,
I
chữ B.
fly.
Cái thứ đây là cái Plano City Excellent.
So
Cái
venture
thứ
down
hai nha
there.
các bạn.
Be
Cái
forewarned.
thứ ba là Central
Venture down to
Market.
in the buff balloon at your own
Là mình
discretion.
những cái công ty á, nó xin quảng cáo. Cái là Intro Food, Intro Market là cái chợ nha các bạn. Cái đây là Mars, cái này là TZ Hats.
Yep, those are the blue shoes of Buddy Beaver. That is Colin Gray over at Bud.
Để mình đếm tổng cộng 24 giờ mình đếm lại nha.
He's back in the
1,
back there, pretty close
2,
to
3,
the
4,
Jack
5,
and
6,
Oh, Fireball. is not standing up, right? Just
7, 8, 9,
still to go.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 12. One, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Hiện tại là mình đến 28 cái rồi đó các bạn. 28 cái cầu được bơm vô là được chuẩn bị cho lễ hội. 28 cái cây cầu nha các bạn. Lâm.
That is the B1
Yes, xe độ. Cần Đinh Quân cũng vô nữa hả Đinh Quân?
Looks like a great place to maybe take some pictures. Maybe your next profile picture for Facebook, who knows? But the walkthrough balloon is now open for business. It is totally free. It is right next to the tethered balloons. Again, Brian Rohr operating the tethered balloons. Brian is a commercial flight operator here. And these two tethered balloons are operating.
Báo cáo 28. Quảng cáo. Lúc kia bố sao mà cho mà vô đây quay phim hay sao á? Thấy mọi người chuẩn bị rồi đó các bạn. Khi mọi thứ chuẩn bị xong, họ sẽ mở cái rào chắn này để cho vào bên trong. Quay chú cha cũng leo lên ngồi hả? Ngồi hả? À, à. Chú cha cũng bắt thở chỗ nào.
Great view of it from here near the stage at our location. You can see right into the face of the fire dog and the police dog standing side by side. This is a great time for me to say thank you to the Plano Fire Department for being on site and
Tham gia rất là đông các bạn, như là đông đầy đủ rồi.
where needed, and also a huge thank you to the Plano Police Department. They do an incredible job, not only with security here at the site, but more importantly, with directing all of the traffic in and out of this place. As you can imagine, the roads get somewhat gridlocked, especially last night and Friday night. And so, thank you to everyone for the police department and fire department for your support.